So I watched a YouTube video today, and I think it was titled 1 millionaire versus 10 college dropouts. Now, I've seen videos similar to this over the past like 2-3 years with high school students and high school dropouts or whatever the case may be. One thing I noticed, however, is that the topics haven't changed, the answers from both sides haven't really changed, the complaints from both sides haven't changed, the arguments from both sides haven't really changed. Every topic these people debated on and the arguments and answers that were provided after are kind of similar and have been similar for the past like 5 years now. To sum things up, these videos are pretty much just the millionaire versus middle class debate. That's essentially what it is. The students just continue to argue that no millionaire is ethical. All they do is use consumers and exploit consumers for their own personal gain, and that millionaires just don't care about anybody but themselves. The millionaires or entrepreneurs often just argue, just fucking try something and you might succeed, that they use the system that's obviously fucked up in order to benefit themselves, and now they're giving back in other ways that the students may not just be able to see. Or even when it boils down to how is it their fault that they wanted more success, I guess there's a cap on certain success levels that the middle class gets to decide. So like the first 4 questions in the video that I watched were, most people who work a 9-to-5 are jealous of entrepreneurs. The conversation itself was so dense, and I think that that's a common problem that we're going to have, especially moving forward, because technology has allowed people to just not think, not use their brain at all. And if we're just not going to think things through or even think of the opposite perspective far enough to actually understand what the other person is saying, then we're not going to make any progress and you're a lost cause. And now, to be honest, related to the actual question itself, I think both are jealous of each other. I think the entrepreneur just wishes it was easy, wishes they had more time to do shit they want. Like being an entrepreneur myself, I don't get to have any fun, right? Fun comes later. The thing is that like 9-to-5s, people who work a 9-to-5, they often do more things that they actually want to do outside of their job, instead of using that time outside of their job to work on something that's going to pay them further. And then they often just feel like, okay, well, I'm burning through fucking money because the economy is some shit. I don't have my own business, and if I don't obey the time constraints that my employer is given me, then I'm going to be fucking homeless. And I think the person who's working 9-to-5 wishes they had the money that successful entrepreneurs have. The problem with this argument is that anybody who starts a job versus anybody who starts a business both have problems and are jealous of the other. It's only that the end result of working a job, you might get a few promotions and become manager, but a promotion in your business means you are literally a CEO and you're making hundreds, unlimited. Like there's no limit on how much money you can make. There's no limit on your success. And everybody wants to preach that until somebody else does it. Now it's not fair. The second argument was that university is a complete waste of time. Now, I don't think university is a complete waste of time, but in the argument of millionaire or entrepreneur versus a student, it's like, that's a stupid question to fucking ask, because obviously the students are not going to agree that what they're doing is a waste of time unless they've have another motive. But that was a dumb question. I don't think university is a waste of time, but it just depends. Like, what are your goals? If your goal is to make money as fast as possible, I don't think that it's wasting 4 years on a fucking degree to then go get an entry-level job at an entry-level salary that we already know is not going to be livable or comfortable in America. I think that would be a waste. But if you have a strong passion for the ocean and you want to go be a marine biologist, well, then go do that. The third topic that they debated on was, most people like the man in the video are just scammers who sell courses. The topic is so ignorantly vague. It's just kind of like, okay, that's true. Many people online who are selling some sort of course are doing it for the money grab, not because they've built a skill and then started a course. I think if you built a skill that is proven to be successful and you charge people access to the knowledge in which how you started, I think that's just a business. I don't think there's any scam in there. And if it doesn't work for you, he never promises it's going to work for you. I think that's very common. I think what he promises is that if you actually put yourself towards something and this is the thing that you're interested in, then you're going to become successful, but that's like, everybody says that if you put your mind or dedicate your time towards something, there's no way for you to fail. So I don't know why it's any different when somebody says it who's just charging a few $100s for courses, but universities can say, here's a $40,000 bill over the next 4 years that you'll probably be paying for the rest of your life to learn something about something, and you might not even use the degree. Like I think there's a statistic on where like a large portion of people who have degrees don't even have a job in the field they have the degree in. They literally, like, is that not a scam? Is that not? So why are we not calling that out? Yeah, I don't know. That's just stupid. And then the last one was, feminists are only feminists until they need a man to provide. I don't know what the fuck, how we got there. I will say though, it's like, if you ask any man, or if you ask any woman, what are the 3 good qualities of a man, they're gonna say, I want a man who can provide. That's like likely going to be on that list. That first list of 3 characteristics is going to include, he needs to provide. And that's rightfully so. I believe that men should be providing for the woman. It's just that in order to get that out of a man, there's a certain level of respect and accountability that the woman must take, and sacrifice that she must make in order to be granted that providing. And I think that's where it clashes. But nonetheless, the rest of the video is just too fucking long, and I'm not gonna go sit here and make an hour-long video. My entire topic, my entire premise was really just, yes, life is fucked. Yes, if you're in the middle class right now, life is hard. If you are not in the upper middle class and or upper class, your life is probably full of shit and frustrating, and you have problems that really affect your mental health. And I think the thing is, I want people to just be like, look, life is gonna suck either fucking way. If you start a business right now, it's not gonna be easy, and then you'll really start to realize why millionaires are so defensive about their money as they are. Because if you try to become one of the top, part of the upper class, you'll see that it's not fucking easy. However, if you stay in the middle class, you're going to still be unhappy. So you have to choose what type of unhappy you want. Do you want the burden and stress of having to start a business, in worst case scenario, you end up back at a 9 to 5? Or do you want the burden of being at a 9 to 5? And that's it. That's how I think about it.